Figure it's been a minute since we've done a solo industry video, so I want to kind of give you guys an update on kind of what I've been thinking about lately. We've still been researching the squall, kind of getting it kind of good to go. Sino, industrial Sino, we've been researching that. We got about 8 days left on that stuff. They'll probably go right back in, to be honest. And we also had a bunch of like trit and stuff from all the solo mining kind of adventures. So what I did was I ended up putting a bunch of Mars shuttles back into works. About 705 of those. We've been selling shuttles really, really well. It's crazy, like, and in bulk too. Um, we're almost out of everything, to be honest. We've got uh, Minotaur shuttles left, about 787 of them. They just don't sell. They're probably one of the least popular ones, but everything else, we built everything in like equal quantities. It's all been taken care of. Um, as far as everything else goes, I've been trying to figure out exactly what I want to do in terms of like industry kind of moving forward. Um, and even though shuttles are, been selling really, really well, the overall ISK, for the 30 days is pretty low actually. So, um, here's our sheet. I made a little bit of modifications to it and everything, but we'll kind of go through this a little bit and kind of give you some ideas of what I'm thinking. But everything's profit right now anyway. I really kind of stopped putting material cost up in here. I think, and this is not like one of those if you mine it, it's free mentalities. More or less, it's like if you're mining those materials and you are going to use them and turn them into something else, then really what I want to be calculating is job cost, and then after the job cost and the broker fee and the sales tax, what are my profits, right? Now I think that if it's in a situation where you are faced with two decisions of I'm either going to sell the refined good value or I'm going to build a thing and sell that and compare those two, that would be kind of more aligned, and you'd put like the whole value of materials in here, and then you would cross compare and see what your profits are. Obviously if you're in the green, then yeah, it's worth moving that stuff and building it into something else. But I think that's kind of an interesting way to look at it. I think a lot of people don't look at it that way because compressed value, we talk about compressed value or value and all that stuff, but really it comes down to like the refined value. I mean, that's really what you're pulling out of the industry window when you're looking at what is the material, what are the materials worth before you even, hit the job button, and then what is the output worth. And I think that comparison only works if you're willing to sell materials if they're higher rather than build. In my situation for this series, we are here to manufacture stuff. So when I go out and mine things, we're not planning on doing anything with that. Like we're going to be putting it into manufacturing items. So if I have all the materials for something, I'm going to leave this cost at zero. I'll put the job cost in, and then I will look at how much I can make off of building a certain thing. And then I'm comparing actual different items that I could use materials that I have on hand for. And also when you compare like mineral value, that stuff is really, really heavy too. So if you are in a situation where you're like, am I going to sell the or the materials, the refined materials, or build a thing? You then have to think, okay, well, look how heavy the raw material is and how much it's worth. And then also what's the product worth? In most cases, you're going to be getting less volume from the product itself. So I don't know. I'm just kind of like shifting around how I'm thinking about stuff. But one thing I've been looking at, and over here, this is just like a little like note, nothing really permanent for this spreadsheet, but this is like an X10 essentially number. So what this number represents mainly is if I go and invest in 9 more venture BPOs, research them all, and that's all I do is just build ventures, and I'm constantly filling all 10 of my manufacturing job slots with ventures, then I could potentially make up to 1.2 billion if I buy all the isogen. That's what this would be right here. This would be the isogen cost if if I was actually not mining it, right? Now this is going to be per. This is like, so don't get this confused with like, it's not going to cost 148,000 for 795 runs. That's not how that is calculated. I have a one run calculation for material cost in here, and then I do the math based on the run count here for the job cost and the total. So if we put 795 over here, you see the job cost and everything changes. So the job cost would end up costing us about 136 million in there. And obviously, like if you zeroed this out, then it'd be like 18 million if you were bringing it all in. But instead of like, I'm either going to report zero cost or I'm going to report the full amount of isogen cost, because obviously if I go and do some rare ore sites and I'm not having to source every last bit of it, then my costs will be lower, so the profits will be obviously higher. But if I actually did go out and just mine everything, then you'd be, if you did just, if we all we did was build ventures, then we could make over 2 billion a month, which is pretty good. I think the time it would take to research all those would be like the big kicker. We would ships always take longer to research. As you can tell, we're still working on the squall here, and it's 8 of 12 right now. So I would say like 2 or 3 months would be spent just getting the other 9 venture BPOs ready to go. But that gives us a lot of time to actually stockpile isogen. So I already kind of ran through these numbers when I was, kind of filling with numbers and everything. But let's go ahead and just kind of look, and so you can get a better idea of what we're looking at here in terms of cost. So for one run, we're basically gonna have to source 315 isogen. I'm not worried about Mexilon. I'm not worried about pyrite or trit. I mean, we can get that stuff from everywhere that we're normally mining in, just from our normal play and our normal stuff that we do for solo mining. So I'm not worried about that at all. What we do have to source though is the isogen for a full, 795 runs, maxing that BPO out. That's 30 days. We're looking at about 250,000 isogen for one BPO. Actually, it's 250,425. So if we're actually going to go full bore, 400, did I say 425? Yes. And so we're going to go full bore and just fill up every single slot. And obviously, there's 11 slots if you do all the skills. We'll probably end up going 11 slots, but most likely we'll go 10 BPOs and then keep one. And if we end up getting another BPO, we'll just run that one. But 10 is a good number. And if we times this by 10, then that's how we're looking at. That's per month that we have to mine and everything. So, and let's just go. And what I've been doing here, I've been just using Janus. So Janus. So we're just gonna put this number into Janus here and see what it would cost. Now, the question now becomes like, do we go by value? If we're gonna go to like a marketplace and put up some buy orders, we could get it a little cheaper, but only like, it's not even that much cheaper. It's like $1,092 million, right? As opposed to like sell, which is $1,136 million. So I think just out of convenience, we would probably just try to like source these things locally and not really worry about going to Jita. We can also just source the compressed ore itself. That would be a heck of a lot easier to get out and travel and bring it back and refine it. But this just gives us a rough idea. In most cases, I'm probably going to go split on this stuff. I think this shows buy, but really I can put whatever I want in here. But I don't think I'm going to be as lucky getting the low buy value for that many units over the course of a month, every month. And so what we do now is we actually come down to just showing one isogen. This would give us an idea. We need to be like 445 for a split. And we basically can't go over as long as we stay under 460, then, our numbers are going to work in our favor. But if we come over here and actually look at isogen on the market, and see what's kind of near us, we can start to get an idea of what's possible. So his 464, or here's 464 right here, 6 jumps away. They have 3.5 million units. We also have 470 in system right now, which if we bought all of these, we'd be good for like a month and some change, and then that would give us enough time for everything to kind of refill. I think that if I'm going to do this, I'm probably going to go look at compressed ore and see if I can do a little bit better there, because honestly, like, you can go to Poshvin and get some of the ore out there. You get isogen, rare ore sites when they're close by. And in the time it takes us to actually research all those venture BPOs, if we're doing nothing during that time, but just going to rare ore sites and Poshvin, I think we could probably build up enough of a stockpile in a couple of months that we would be ahead for a while. So essentially, I guess the plan moving forward could very well be where we're just building ventures. That's like 3,000 or so ventures a month, because we do 795 per, yeah, and then we have 10 BPOs running. That's a lot of ventures. And normally I would not go this crazy with something like this, but we already built 795 ventures, and they sold very, very quickly, in bulk, mind you. We sold probably like a couple hundred, kind of here and there, and then we had somebody come in and just buy everything. So I don't feel like there's any issue getting rid of these things, because they're not just mining ships in the grand scheme or in the big picture of the economy. They are Sino ships. So being this close to JITA, people are going to be able to see it on the market, and they're going to be like, you know what, I could go out there away from JITA, pick up 700 plus of these if I need to. We can be pretty competitive on our price, especially if we're mining a lot of the isogen. And by being competitive on the price, we're not going to make as much as we potentially could, but we have the option of actually somebody coming in a jump freighter and just wiping our inventory out all in one fell swoop. Because normally what jump freighters do is, before they head back into null, they'll try to kind of restock ventures and restock the things that go into the venture sinos. So as they're jumping back to where their home is in null, they're along the way kind of restocking all of their jump points, and they it's how they keep all those sino alts with enough, because they lose those sino ships quite a bit. The venture sinos go down pretty quick. So there's a huge market there, and we can double dip on that too with the industrial sino generator as well. So we can come in here and be like, hey, we're selling all these ventures over here in this NPC station next to JITA, and in the same place we're also selling the sinos. So they would only, and that's also why we had the expanded cargo hold here, because this is like another one of the pieces to the venture sino. The only blue BPO we don't have for that whole setup is the the rig. But the reason I don't have the rig for that is because one of the salvage pieces just doesn't drop in this region. So yeah, so this is the venture sino right here. So as you can see, it takes one of those sinos, and then takes one cargo, expanded cargo 1, and then it takes basically 3 small cargo optimizers, and that's it. So if we're able to build even just the sino and the venture itself, and put them with a competitive price, I think we can do really well in offloading them. I think the first month is going to be very interesting if we actually sit there, and we probably will. They'll be staggered. It's not like we're going to be starting all 10 BPOs for 795 each all at the same time. If we get all the stuff together, and we can start one 30-day BPO run, and then a couple days later we'll constantly be starting these BPOs. They'll be kind of staggered, so we'll always kind of have ventures coming out of the cooker. But I would be very surprised if we have any left over. I think we'll get kind of cleaned out there, and I think it'd be an interesting goal, especially for this series, is like getting to the point where we're hanging out in basically a starter system next to JITA, and we're just one character, but we're in manufacturing and making at least a billion from it every month and everything. So that's kind of what I've been thinking. Let me know in the comments what you if you have any cool suggestions or whatever. But I've been running the numbers, and like X10ing the ventures, I think is going to be, you know, a 1 to 2 billion profit every month for one character doing manufacturing in high sec. I like those numbers. I think that works for me. So if that's good with all you guys, then we'll probably in the next couple of days go and grab all these the other 9 venture VPOs, get them all in research, and start mining isogen like a crazy person. It honestly won't take that long to get the required. We could probably actually mine all the isogen we need for the entire month in a couple of days, but we would have to do more Poshfin mining instead of, you know, trying to get lucky with rare ore sites, because like right now let's look at the agency for rare ore, and we're talking about rare ore that's actually like, you know, not 20 jumps away. This is like 9 jumps away right here. Let's see if this is actually like a connected. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, right there by Onan. Or actually, no, it's not. It's a little bit further down the road. Yeah, so that's one. I mean, we could go 9 jumps for that one, but honestly, I think Poshman would be easier because there's just better ore out there, and we more bang for our buck. But anyway, that's gonna be for this episode. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Let me know in the comments. You know, this is as much of a community kind of project as it is mine. So if you guys also have suggestions, I'm willing to. Well, I want to hear the feedback. But peace out.